Good morning, everyone. Thank you for being here. This morning, we have I'm so excited. We have a great guest here today. I'm going to let Karen introduce him because the Pride Justice team is integral in bringing Arnold here today, and we're just thrilled. And then the next 2 weeks, we are having Brenda Blackhawk come, and the Racial Justice Ministry team has worked on bringing her here, and so please join us for that as well. She's going to be sharing some more about the doctrine of discovery, which we can always learn more about, and what the ELCA has been working on as far as reparations go, as well as, I always mess this phrase up, missing, murdered Indigenous women. Did I get it right? I usually put something in the wrong order. So she's going to talk about that too. And if you heard last week, Gary Cross talked about the missing children piece in the boarding school. So this is kind of our time and month as opposed to what we used to learn in October. We are focusing on our Indigenous families that are so important to us. So I'm going to let Karen introduce.
Good morning. I'm Karen Gieske. My pronouns are she, her. As Penny mentioned, I have the incredible blessing of being part of the Pride Justice team, which if you're a Pride Justice team member, would you raise your hand and just, yeah. They are amazing people. And I get to, oh, you're very kind. So, well, it was about a year ago. I had NPR on, and I found myself listening to an absolutely fascinating interview, which there's a lot of those on NPR, right? But this one just really captivated me. And as we all do, we go home and Google things. And I found Arnold's website, and there's some videos on there. And the videos included some conversations with some youth, which, if any of you know me from previous parts of my vocation, I have a real passion and interest in families, kiddos, and youth. And so to hear somebody who also, we're all called to be present with all different kinds and ages of people, but it just really caught my attention. So I emailed Arnold, because Arnold is up in Bemidji, which he will chat about, and said, by any chance, do you ever come down here? And very graciously said, well, of course, let's chat. And so, it all takes time to coordinate schedules and all of that. So we're so glad he's here today. With that, I wanted to just offer that in the book of Exodus, Moses encounters God. And God invites Moses to take off his sandals because it's holy ground. And I think about that often. And so I invite you for just a moment, if you want to take off your shoes, you can, but if nothing else, feel the floor underneath you as I read Trinity's land acknowledgement. And just take a deep breath. Feel that floor beneath you, whether it's with your skin or with the soles of your shoes. And think about this holy ground that we're on that God gifted us with. Trinity Lutheran Church is located on the original and ancestral homelands of the Dakota people, specifically the Wapakutu Nation. We are on Dakota and Anishinaabe Ojibwe land. This land holds spiritual and ongoing importance for its original stewards, the Native nations, and all indigenous peoples of the St. Croix Valley region. We give thanks for their presence here since time immemorial. We also wish to recognize and honor all of our indigenous siblings who have and continue to call this land their home. And with that, we give thanks to you, Arnold, our sibling. Thank you for being here today. It's all yours.
No pressure. I was like, wow. But Buju, Hakanimat Nidijinakas, Mikanak Totem. My name is Strong Wind, and I'm from the Turtle Clan, but my English name is Arnold Dalwoolley. And I have an advocacy in Bemidji, and I'm also the TC Pride BIPOC Leader of the Year. So I just want to throw that in there, too, because I was very happy about that. And I'm just going to kind of like jump in and start because I know we have like limited time. And so as I'm going along, though, if somebody may have a question or a comment or anything like that, it's like, I have a question. I'm not sure if this is offensive or not. And so then it's like, I'm not going to ask the question. It's like, no, ask the question. This is how we learn and this is how we grow. So we're going to talk about two spirits, minorities within minorities. I have a question for you. Does anybody know what two-spirit means? I know you do. But does anybody know? Yes. Beautiful, masculine, feminine, in one spirit. Very good answer. Anybody else? It's a good answer because the Native American two spirits are male, female, and sometimes intersex individuals that combine the activities of both men and women that were unique to their status as two spirits. And so in most tribes, they were neither men nor women, but they occupied a distinct alternative gender status. And I like to pay attention to the distinct alternative gender status. So this gender variation at times includes temperament, dress, lifestyle, and social roles. So they weren't just considered man or woman, but they were considered both. So beautiful answer. And also, every tribe had its own terms for two-spirit individuals. Lakota was Winkte, Zuni Lamana, and Navajo used Nadlihe, the one who is changing in the sense of undergoing constant transformation. That's my favorite because, you know, in life we're always learning and we're always growing. And though some of these mean man, woman, but many can't even be translated. And Ojibwe is Nijmani Duwag, which is two-spirit. But where did it come from? Because a lot of people I'm sure you've heard before is like, is this something new? This is new, isn't it? Well, the English terminology of two-spirit is new. The name, English version. Not the Anishinaabe or any of the other Native American tribes out there, but the English version, two-spirit, that name is newish, because a two-spirit is a modern umbrella term, which means it's not that old, to describe some of the northern Native Americans, gender-variant individuals within their communities. So the term was adopted in 1990 to 1993 at an indigenous LGBTQ plus international gathering to encourage the anthropological term berdage. So they used to refer to us as berdage, and we wanted to have that change. So do we think berdage meant something really happy for the Native American individuals who are two-spirit? I already see head shaking, no. No. What did it mean? Well, during early colonization, the French explorers came over and they seen the two spirits and they referred to them as berdage. So this today is known and referred to as a derogatory term, which is to describe the alternative gender roles of Native people. And in some cases, it meant kept boy or boy prostitute. In some cases. So obviously, we would like that name changed because it wasn't something that was a positive reflection on Native American two-spirit individuals. And notice they kept out the female gender. Interesting, huh? This is one of my most favorite questions in the world, is how and why do people become two-spirit? Anybody got a guess as how and why do we become two-spirit individuals? I see smiles. Yes. Yes. Very good. You don't become, you are. Yes. That's a good answer. Anybody gonna top that one? All right. All right. Well, what was your name again? I keep asking you. I'm so sorry. Jen, that was a fantastic answer. And so we're going to go on most tribes, individuals who are identified as two-spirit in childhood based upon their interest in skills. So these skills are supported due to the contributions they made to household chores, hunting capabilities, and contributions to the tribes itself. And in some groups, gender assignments are highly flexible, which you just are. Because why? We're born that way. We are. Did you know that some tribes didn't refer their children as he or she until the children grew up long enough to tell their family who they are? So it's very freeing. Because you know when a little boy is born, it's like, little boy's born, And immediately from birth, we're like, he's a little man, he's a man. We're putting like footballs and stuff into the crib. And little girls born, we're like, oh, she's a princess. She's a princess. We're putting stuff in there from like Frozen and Snow White's like, oh, she's a princess. Immediately from birth, we're pushing gender pressure on what we've learned of what is male or female. We're pushing gender pressure immediately from birth. But imagine how freeing it is to just grow up and just be. You just are, and you're loved and supported. Is being a two-spirit the same as being gay? No. The term is not the same as being gay. Instead, it applies to people who are considered to be more gender fluid and typically hold a sacred ceremonial role within their culture. Two-spirits are Native American or First Native individuals that identify with multiple genders. There's more than one gender, or more than two genders, more than three genders, more than four genders in Native American culture. There's several genders. So the term two-spirit, sometimes two-spirited depending on the source, is used to refer to the indigenous members who can see through the eyes of more than one gender. So it's kind of like related to your question, or the answer you had earlier. We can see through the eyes of more than one gender. And it's highly respectable and sacred. This is a great question, and please pay attention to the pictures, because there's a lot of people go, were there pictures back then? Were there pictures? It's like, well, here's pictures for you. But does anybody have a guess for that one? Are we gay? Are we lesbian? Are we transgender? Or are we all of them? All of them. Who said that? Are they even related? I love that. That's the first time somebody said that. That's very insightful, actually. But yeah, we are related. It's all related, but that's a very good one. I like that. But yeah, we're all of them. The two-spirit tradition, and please pay attention to tradition, accommodated a diverse range of individuals and individual differences. Western terms tends to focus on a single trait, such as sexual preference, who am I attracted to, or gender identity, who am I? And this is a narrow focus that fails to capture the diverse range of two-spirit individuals and how they corresponded with their tribes personally, spiritually, and economically. We're talking like baskets, hunting and gathering, and so forth. So all there were two-spirit individuals that cross-dressed, others did not, and some dressed in styles that were distinct from men and women. How positive is it? How positive do we see the two-spirit population? Well, Native Americans held intersex, androgynous people, feminine males, and masculine females in high respect. Rather than emphasizing on sexuality, Native people tend to focus on a person's spiritual gifts. So, how high? Well, this is Weewa. Anybody know who Weewa is? Well, Weewa's amazing. Okay, well, Weewa was a part of the Zuni tribe, and they wanted to send one of the most highly respected members of their tribe to meet the president at the time, which is President Grover Cleveland. They sent Weewa. Weewa's transgender. And so Weewa's one of the most highly respected members of their tribe, and they sent Weewa to represent them. So that's something for us to pay attention to. How does two-spirit fit in its history, and how common were and are two-spirit roles? Do we think that we're a small population? Or do we think we're like a medium-sized population? Or something that's a lot larger than we really realize? Yes, I heard yes. Yes. We're a lot larger than people realize. And also, too, two-spirit role is one of the most widely shared features of the northern Native American culture. They've been documented in every region of the continent, every major language group, and in every kind of tribe. So from the farmers of the Southwest to the warring hunters of the Great Plains, archaeological evidence has shown burials and paintings and other artifacts that indicate that the two-spirit was ancient and widespread, which dates back tens of thousands of years. So when people say, it's like, isn't this new? No, it's not. And we have evidence that shows it's been going back for tens of thousands of years. And so we have to think, too, tens of thousands of years of respect, honor, love, and community. That's another favorite question of mine. What is that? Does anybody know? It is sage. What do we do with sage? Does anybody know that? We smudge. What does the smudging do? Cleanses. Cleanses, purifies, makes things sacred. Yeah. And if I go to places, sometimes I'll go somewhere that nobody has any idea. I'll say it's kind of like a Native American holy water. People are like, oh, okay, I get it. I get it now. But this is really important. Sage is very powerful. And so, how revered do we see the two-spirit population? Well, let's imagine that this little sticker here is a beautiful eagle fan. Let's just imagine that. Here's this beautiful eagle fan, and we're going to gift it away. So we're going to gift this beautiful eagle fan away. There we go, Jenny. And so there's that beautiful eagle fan. And usually when we get a gift like that, we have to sage it, smudge it, bless it, and purify it before we go dance with it or whatever we're going to do with it. We have to bless it. But since it came from a two-spirit individual, it's already considered blessed. That's how we see two-spirit population. These are sacred, blessed persons. And so that's a blessed sticker that you have. This is a good question. Where's Native American land? I think Karen knows. Anybody have a guess? Everywhere. Thank you, because sometimes people think it's like Native American land. Is that Leech Lake? It's like Red Lake, White Earth, Boys Fort. You know, is that Native American land? It's like no. This is Native American land, right here, all the way up from the very tip of Alaska, all the way down to the tip of Mexico. Where are Native brothers and sisters at? There, historically, here. Today, here. We're the two-spirit population. Here. Where are they respected and honored? Here. Something happened. It's not good. Yes, it's not good. But something happened. I think you have an idea what happened. Yes. But yeah, something happened. And there's my little hint there. Because we're going to just touch base on, what are we going to touch base on? We're going to touch base on what's occurring. Because we already have our own language, history, and culture, right? It's been supportive. Community, love, support, respect. We have our own ways of life. But now we're going to talk a little bit about the cultural assimilation of Native Americans. Because this is an assimilation effort to the Native Americans by the United States to transform Native American culture to European or Americanized culture between the years of 1790 to 1920. And I find it very humorous that there's an end date. It never stopped. But this assimilation of the Americanization includes customs, values, traditions, cultural beliefs, and religious ceremonies. It's more than the way we look on the outside. It's more than what we're wearing. It's more than the cutting of the hair. Like I said, we have our own communities, our belief systems, our support systems, how we value our families, and our traditions, and our culture. And if you're a two-spirit individual, going from sacred, honor, and respected, something's happening now, right? Because like I said before, it's more than the way we look on the outside. We were talking customs, value systems, beliefs, religious ceremonies, all of that. And so we're learning something that's different now. It's taking away, it's more than the way we look on the outside. It's what's happening too. What's happening. And here's a picture that's very powerful. Because sometimes people will see something like that. They're like, oh my gosh, isn't that so long ago? That's so long ago. Why don't we just get over it? Get over it. It's a bazillion years ago. And to put things into perspective, my mom was in a boarding school. My grandparents were in boarding schools. And it wasn't a choice. They took you. And you were just there. And so we lost a lot over those years. And so this is something for us to pay attention to. This isn't ancient history. We lost a lot during that time too. Because why? A lot of Native American cultural aspects is oral. We had oral histories. Today it's being written down though. We have our language immersion programs, we have tribal colleges, and so it's wonderful to see like little kids singing all songs in Ojibwe. And it's just amazing, absolutely amazing. So we have our immersion programs today. Everything's being written down. We're never going to forget again. We want to make sure we hold on to our history and our value systems, and the two-spirit's in that as well. Because if you're a two-spirit child and you're going through this, you're going from sacred, honored, respected, in some cases revered, to the abomination, the sinner, ridicule, mockery, and where violence is acceptable. This isn't anything against Christianity. Sometimes people think it's all against Christianity. It's like, no, it's not. But we need to put things into perspective of what's happening. What is happening? So if you're a two-spirit, where would that leave you? Going from sacred, honor, respected to violence. So this little child represented two-spirit individual, and the big circle is like mom, dad, grandma, grandpa, uncles, aunties, cousins, everybody's there, your community, everybody loves you and protects you, and just everything's fantastic. And then you take that away, what do you feel? Alone, abandoned. Very scary, isn't it? Yeah, it's terrifying. So where did we go? Because we didn't hear for it for a while, right? Where did we go? Anybody got a guess? Depression. Hiding. Does it sound familiar to a lot of the certain population? What's that? Squelching. This is a good word. I need to remember this. I like that. Squelching. Pushing down. You're not that old. Quit it. But anybody hear about the infamous closet? You know, everybody's just like, when did you come out of the closet? When did you come out of the closet? We're in the closet for like several different reasons. And people always want to know, it's like, when did you come out of the closet? It's like, I come out every day. Every day. People's like, are you? I'm like, yeah, I am. And then, you know, I came out again. But it comes up quite a bit. But each time you come out, though, there's that apprehension. There's an apprehension. It's like, am I going to be accepted? How is this going to be? But also, I have a personal story for you. So, in my youth, this is going to date me now. Does anybody remember those tape recording machines where you could press play and record your voice? Those things? This is how we got our music back in the day. These were very important. These were very cool. Well, the one on the right was very cool. But this is how you got your music back in the day. You press play and record. It would get your Casey Kasem's Top 40 countdown. Anybody came in the room, you're like, shh, I'm recording. Because it recorded everything in the room. Well, also, too, is it would record your voice, right? And so as they record your voice, so me and my friends and one of my brothers was like, I'd never heard my voice before. And inside my head, my voice has always been very deep and gravelly. That's all I've ever heard. You know, so in like middle school, all I hear is deep and gravelly. And so we're playing around with this. We're hit and play recording our voices, and we're playing it back, so we're all kind of listening to our voices. And it gets to mine. And I was listening. I was like, you can tell. And I didn't know some of the words that I said that you could tell. And that terrified me. Why would that terrify me? I'm hiding. I was hiding. It's a very good answer. Anybody else? I felt exposed and unsafe. Why would I feel like that? Well, I can tell you, because people in my school were being mocked, ridiculed, and sometimes attacked for being part of the 2S LGBT plus population or being perceived as such. Because sometimes mannerisms are just mannerisms. Speech is just speech. But people that were from the 2S LGBT plus population or people being perceived as such were being mocked, ridiculed, and attacked. And the teachers did little to nothing to stop that. I wanted to graduate. So I made sure I talked differently. I walked differently. I sat differently. I did everything differently. I did everything the manly way for many years to make sure that I could graduate. And to tell you something, it's like pretending to be somebody else every day, 24 hours a day, is exhausting. It's exhausting. But did you know that before colonization, Native Americans embraced gender fluidity? There were no gender binaries. There were men, there were women, there were feminine men and manly women, and transgendered individuals. And in Native North American societies, these individuals are considered to be normal, and in some cases considered to be supremely gifted, having the knowledge and ability to understand both the male and female aspect. There were no defined roles. There were no distinct binaries, which means you just are. right? And when you just are and you're loved and supported, isn't that very freeing? Doesn't matter who you are. You're just loved and supported and respected. Little history here. Question for you guys. And this usually terrifies older adults. High school kids, boom, have an answer. And I don't know why it's so difficult to answer. But what is that? Thank you. It's a pink triangle. Because I seriously have like adults who are like, is this a triangle? I'm like, it's a triangle. Then I'm like, what color is it? Like, pink? I'm like, yes, it's a pink triangle. And some people try to be fancy. They say fuchsia. And it's like, don't quit. You're not impressing anybody. But this is a very powerful symbol, isn't it? This is a symbol for gay pride. And if you go to a gay pride event, because sometimes people's like, I'm not from the community. Can I go? Yes, you can go. There's moms, dads, grandmas, grandpas, cousins, uncles, aunties, kids, dogs. And you're going to have so much fun because there's every outreach entity at Pride. And you're going to go home with bags and bags of free stuff. True story. But you're going to see this pink triangle everywhere. It's a symbol for gay pride. Also means we're safe, right? It's a symbol of safety and community. So if I see that pink triangle, I know that I'm safe. So this is important, though. It's like, that has a history, though, doesn't it? Because everything has a history, right? Does anybody have an idea where the pink triangle history is? Concentration camp, Holocaust. Yes. That's a symbol we use. Yep, if you're Jewish, you have the Jewish star on you. And then if you're also from the 2S LGBT+ population, they put the pink triangle on you, and you were burned as well as the undesirables. Crazy, huh? But that's a symbol used for gay pride today. If you see that pink triangle, you know what it means. Yeah, this is kind of like the ideology that replaced the sacredness and respect. This is what a lot of people learned. Isn't it crazy? One of the most important people I've ever met in my life, David Baer. David Baer passed away this year. But David Baer is a public speaker like me, and I was so excited to meet him that I didn't even stop talking for the picture. You can see him looking up at me, and I'm still just gabbing away. I was so honored to meet him. But he talked about the importance of equality and speaking up for the rights of others, because what can happen when a minority group is attacked or demonized? So he's a very powerful speaker, just incredible. So it's important for us to recognize the equality rights of others because we know what can happen. We've already been there in several different ways. Another great question. What is that? I know people here know that. It's the rainbow flag, yes. And it's very important for us to see that because you go to gay pride events or anywhere, you're going to see this. You're just like, what does that mean? I'm safe. Have any of you felt scared because you're going to be attacked due to your sexual orientation walking down the street? Yeah. I hear some people going, of course. Yeah. It's kind of unsettling. It's like, am I going to be attacked for being me walking down the street or going to certain vicinities? Like, yeah. But if I see this flag, I know that I'm safe. Also, if I go to, let's say, a hospital, I see this little sticker on the outside, I know that I'm safe. If I see it on your badge, I know that I can talk to you. If you're working in crisis units and stuff, if this is on the outside of your office or if this is on your badge, I know that I can reach out to you, that I'm going to be okay. If I don't see that, I'm going to be a little concerned. But it's important to see, like, the pride flags. This is your basic pride flag. There's a bazillion of them, of different styles. So I don't want to overwhelm you. But this is our basic pride flag. And if I see that, I know that I'm safe. Because in Bemidji, I don't know if anybody been to Bemidji lately, when you walk around and you go into like different stores, it'll say bonjour, hello, or bien de gain, come in. So I know I'm safe, I'm seen, I'm recognized. I'm going to shop here. Also, if I see a little sticker that shows a pride flag, I know that I'm safe. So it's a very powerful symbol. It's more than just this happy rainbow flag. It's a symbolism to show that we're okay, that we can come in here, that'll be safe in this building, this hospital, this police department, this school, this college, this church. Seeing the flag, that's the first thing I took a picture of as I drove by. True story, probably wasn't very safe, but I did take a picture on the flag as I was driving by here, going to that Lowell Inn. That was a very powerful thing for me to see. So Timigwich just means many thank yous, but it's a very powerful symbol. Did you know they had meaning? I'm going back. Did you? Some people say that, and it's like, yeah, I do. I go, tell me it then. No test, though. Nobody feels anything. But red means life, orange is healing, yellow is sunlight, green is nature, blue is serenity, and purple stands for spirit. So it's like, that's amazing. So everything has a meaning. Everything has a meaning, and everything has a history. So it's important for us to pay attention to that. And also, too, as an Indigenous Two-Spirit Anishinaabe person, it's like, well, we have to integrate those colors, too, in our artwork, but also because we need to know when we're safe. So it's a very powerful thing to have, like, the rainbow colors, and so we're incorporating that into Indigenous art, too. The symbolism, to make sure that when we go to an area, we know that we're safe. We have to talk about some statistics, right? We always have to. We don't want to. Nobody really wants to talk about statistics, but let's just find out where we are in the world. Well, did you know that, let's talk a little bit about school, because students identified as LGBTQ+ are 5 times more likely to miss school because they've been bullied because of their sexual orientation or gender identity. And approximately 30% of completed suicides have been related to a sexual identity crisis. Do you remember what we were talking about before? You just grew up and you are, but now we're in a crisis. Why? Who put us there? Also, many students who are bullied due to their sexual orientation or gender identity don't even report their experiences, and of those who do, a third of the school staff did nothing to resolve the issue. I have another personal story for you. I'm in a school system with my sister, and we're going to talk about one of my nieces. And so in the school, I'm talking to the administrator, and I said, excuse me, do you have any outreach programs for the Two-Spirit LGBTQ+ students here? And he looks at me and he goes, no. And then he walks away. And I said, thank you. And so on the way out the door, my sister, we're walking. She goes, that was awful the way that they spoke to you. I said, I know. I'm a big boy, though. I'm fine. But if I'm a suicidal 13-year-old that's being attacked due to my sexual orientation or gender identity, and being bullied mentally, physically, emotionally, sexually, at home, school, community, wherever, that is an incorrect response. Because what are we taught when we go to school? You have a problem? Go to your administrator's office. You're having an issue, you go to your administrator's office. You're being attacked, threatened, you go to your administrator's office. So the response I got was the incorrect response. We can do a lot better. We can do a lot better. Because schools can be unsafe and unwelcoming for the majority of the 2S LGBT+ students, and hostile school climates negatively affect those students' educational success and well-being. Because more than 2 in 5 gay, lesbian, bisexual, and transgender youth think of suicide often, and 1 in 3 have attempted it. Staggering and sad. Staggering and sad. And cyberbullying, because it's important for us to pay attention, not just for the youth, but ourselves as well. What are we exposing ourselves to? Because I'm not sure if any of you turn on social medias for like Instagram, Facebook, TikTok, whatever. You can see that bigotry and racism is alive and well. And it's terrible, and it's in your face. But also, too, when youth are online, there's predators. We need to pay attention to who are we exposing our youth to. Homelessness. Did you know a lot of our 2S LGBTQ+ become homeless? 40% of our youth. How does that happen? Kicked out of the house. A lot of people are staggered to hear that. What happens to our youth when they're on the street? How did you get here? My family kicked me out. Why? Because, like, Mom, Dad, I'm gay, or I'm lesbian, or I'm bisexual, or I'm trans, or I'm queer, I'm just trying to figure things out. I'm not sure where I'm at yet. I'm like, nope, not my kid. You're out. You're just out. And so it's kind of unbelievable to think that that happens, but it happens quite frequently. And sometimes these children are blessed enough to maybe have like a uncle or an aunt or a grandparent, maybe even a good friend they can go stay with. But not everybody's as blessed as that. So what happens? You're on the street. And now I'm cold. I'm hungry. I'm scared. What do I do? What happens? What can happen? What usually happens? Trafficking. Yes. This is a smart group. I like you guys. But it's true, trafficking, because nearly 40% of the homeless youth that identify as 2S LGBT+, compared to 7% of the general population, these youth face homelessness for reasons connected to their identities, such as family rejection, prior abuse or neglect, bullying in school, social discrimination, and marginalization. So youth without safe shelter and social supports are at a higher risk of trafficking and exploitation. So traffickers exploit those needs, because why? I want a sandwich, I'm hungry, I'm cold, I'm scared. They exploit those needs. And they can be these youth can be trafficked by intimate partners, family members, friends, or strangers. It's crazy. Two powerful symbols. And I heard, where is she? Right there. Good job. Good job. These are two very powerful symbols. Does anybody know what the one on the left is? MMIW, yes. MMIW. And then, which stands for Missing and Murdered Indigenous Women, or Missing and Murdered Indigenous Persons, because it's not just women all the time, or Missing and Murdered Indigenous Relatives. All of them are appropriate. And the one on the right, everybody's there. We've got Native, everybody's there. Everybody's there. So both are very powerful symbols. Why do you see a lot of those together at times? Because MMIW and Two-Spirit, Native American women and LGBTQ+ Two-Spirit persons are two groups that have been silenced through violence. And I like to repeat that. Those are two groups that have been silenced through violence. Did anybody drive by billboards lately of the MMIW or the Two-Spirit populations, the ones that are missing and murdered or anything like that? We have some around Bemidji, and if you go to other areas too, you see them. But then I like to ask that question because sometimes when people get to the conference, I go, did anybody see those? And some people that even live there, they go, what billboards? I go, you drove by them to get here. And it's strange what we're becoming accustomed to. They're there all the time. We just don't see it. Oh, this photo here is at the Springboard for the Arts in St. Paul. Should be there for many years still. And this was taken by the infamous Nadonis Rose Green from Green Photography. She's a nationally recognized Indigenous photographer. So, and the person on the left, her name is Dwa. We're childhood friends. We've been doing stuff, pictures like this for years. And so, yeah, it was a very powerful symbol. This is the first photo that's ever been taken of MMIW and Two-Spirit together. Also, somebody by the name of Chris knows all about this. This is the new photo shoot too. This is the gallery show called Voices for MMIW or MMIR and Two-Spirit. And so this is going, I'm pretty sure it's going to be going national because it's going a lot of different areas. So hopefully this will be a gallery show that you can come visit. It will be at Minneapolis Pride next year as well, and it should be there, but you can check it out. It's called Gallery, and it's a very powerful photo shoot because it talks about this, about what is happening in our communities. It talks about MMIW and Two-Spirit. Another important symbol here, because we the people means everybody, right? Right? I see some of you already laughing. But yeah, what can happen when you're seen as other? What happens when you're othered? I have another personal story for you, and you need to use your imaginations for this one, because it's a strange story. But me and Matthew, who was my partner at the time, we're leaving our house. We're going to go to dinner. On my property, I own a convenience store, RV park, and campground. And so there's a guy outside leaning on my fence. He's drunk. He's a known predator, but so he's got a record. But he's leaning on my fence. He's drunk, beer cans all over, and he's screaming a bunch of obscenities, and he's got a horse. And so I'm like, what is happening? And so I go, hey, so-and-so, you need to leave. And he just says a bunch of obscenities, and stuff, And so I remember, here's this drunk guy leaning on my fence, beer cans everywhere, just screaming, and here's a horse. And so I thought, I don't need to deal with this. So let me call the professionals, right? So I call 911, and I tell them what's going on. There's a drunk guy on my property, leaning on my fence, beer cans all over, screaming obscenities with a horse. So I go back outside, and there's Matthew. And I tell them, hey, they're on their way. And there was a squad car right away. I was like, oh, that was fast. And so I put my hand up. Comes flying in. I'm pretty well known. And so it comes flying in, comes right over to me, and it's like, what's going on? I go, well, I called. And it just keeps stepping towards me. And I'm like, can we pay attention to the guy with the horse? And it's like, oh, I don't know if any of you have been in this situation before where you know that this is not the way it's supposed to be going down. I am being targeted myself, by whom I called for help. And so I told Matthew, I go inside the house, lock the door, I'll be in a minute. And then, because I'm thinking, I called 911. I don't understand what's happening. Let's pay attention to the predator that has a horse. He's drunk on my property, on my fence. Anyway, fast forward, I am arrested. On my own property in my yard. I am arrested, thrown in the backseat of the squad car because he had a taser out. He brought a taser out. I am arrested, thrown in the backseat of the squad car, and I'm thinking, what's happening? I don't understand exactly what's happening. So as I'm in the squad car, now my 911 call shows up. Because I did make the 911 call. When I went like this, it just attracted that officer's attention. He knew who I was. But now, there's like 6 or 7 other squad cars come pulling in. There's the sheriff, there's the county, there's tribal. Everybody's there. And so everybody's there. And so they go to the back seat where I'm in the squad car, and they open the door, and they say, who's this? And they go, oh, that's the fag that owns the store. And they shut the door. And it's like, now I know why I'm in here. I am angry. I'm pissed. I am mad. But I'm also scared. And so it's like, what do? I don't know what to do. Because nobody in that squad, all those squads that pulled up, not one person came forward and said, hey, we don't speak to people like that. Hey, you don't speak hate language to anybody like that. This is our community member. This is the person that called 911. Nothing happened. They just all allowed that to happen and then shut the door. And so I got my police report. Fast forward. Oh, my gosh, I was crazy in that report. You should have read it. Oh, I was really crazy. But thank goodness the cop camera was running because it disproved everything. And it showed that 2 of my rights and 1 of my amendments was violated. That police officer is no longer there. But also, all those police departments have hired me. It was bittersweet, but I was like, yeah, I will definitely be there. And I shared that story with them because that should never happen to anyone, and that's what happens when you can be othered. So that's why it's important for us to talk, have these discussions, have these seminars. Because, this is a picture I can identify with myself. When we talk about outreach and community, here we go too. This is outreach and community. If this is a two-spirit child, is anybody around to make sure that person knows that they're sacred, respected, honored, some cases revered? Yeah. So when we talk about community and outreach, we need to make sure we pay attention to our whole community, not just part. All of us. We're all one community, right? I have another great story to tell you. What is that, though? I always think nobody can get it, really. Does anybody know what that is? Thank you. I thought it was easy, too. Last group, they really struggled. I blame them. But this is a stethoscope. Yes, why is that important? It's like, well, I have another personal story for you. Okay, this is going to be, I met Matthew out in Oregon. I told some of you where I met my husband today. But at the time, we were dating. We were partners. And so Matthew wound up in the emergency room out in Oregon. This is a few years back. So Matthew's sick. He's really sick. Turned out it was an allergic reaction, just to fast forward that, so don't worry. But having an allergic reaction. But at the time, we didn't know. He's sick. He's really sick. And so they look at me. I'm in the emergency room, and they go, well, who are you? I said, well, I'm his partner. They go, oh, come with us. This is what you're going to need to know. He's having an allergic reaction. We gave him A, B, and C medications. We're giving him fluids, and you're going to take him home. And you're going to give him soup and fluids. And if you have any complications, call us. We're right here. So I feel great. We're feeling seen, heard. We're going to get the best medical care. This is good. I feel reassured. Fast forward, we moved back to Minnesota, where I'm from. I wind up in the emergency room. Fast forward, I became allergic to something I wasn't allergic to before. Didn't know it though. So I'm sick. I am really sick. Go to the emergency room. Matthew's right outside the door, and I can hear them ask, "Who are you?" He goes, "Well, I'm his partner." And they go, "You're not going in there because we don't consider you family." And I hear that. And then you need to know Matthew, he said a few choice words, barged in there, and then I needed to make a verbal statement to say, this person isn't to leave my side till we find out what's going on. But I no longer felt safe. I no longer felt I was going to get the best medical care. I heard the way they said it and what they're doing. The only thing I wanted to do was leave and find a different hospital. That's what I wanted to do. It is awful. And you can say, well, maybe it's not the hospital's fault. Maybe they're following hospital policy. It's like, well, then you need to pay attention to your policy, because your policy is throwing out families like mine. It also violates me culturally. So we need to pay attention to your policy. That hospital's hired me 4 times. It is. But what can we do? Can we do stuff? It's like, oh my gosh, this guy's got like a lot of bummer information, man. Can we do things? Yes, we can become an ally. Okay, does anybody know who John Lewis is? Yes. Okay, well, thank you. He's one of my all-time heroes. I got to meet with him, chat with him. I didn't know how short he was. But he's still huge in my eyes. But John Lewis used to march with Martin Luther King. He saved up his money so he could buy a used thrift store suit so he could march with Martin Luther King. He was a champion for 2S LGBTQ+. Why? Because he knew what it was like to be othered. He knew what it was like to be treated lesser than. So he was a huge champion for our community. Nothing but utter respect for this gentleman here. And sometimes people's like, I need a couple little hints. Can I be a better person? How can I be a better person? Well, there's some do's and don'ts. We're going to go through the do's here. So what we're doing here, we want to make sure we're educating ourselves on common LGBTQ+ terminology and issues. And we're doing that. And I handed out some flyers here. Some people took flyers, but there's other flyers up here you can come get a little bit later. But also acknowledge and work on your own implicit biases and apologize for mistakes. Because we're all going to make mistakes, right? We're human beings. We make mistakes. And what do? I'm sorry. We just apologize. Then we can move forward. Because we're all trying. Respect people's privacy. And be empathetic and non-judgmental, because there's no right way or wrong way to transition. What does respect privacy mean? We don't need to know about people's nether regions. I don't know why people have conversations and ask questions that you really shouldn't. We don't need to ask people about their genitals. We just don't. Respect privacy. Challenge anti-LGBTQ remarks and jokes. What does that mean? I have another personal story for you. So one of my nieces, she wanted to go shopping because she's going to her little event. And so she says, Uncle, can you come shopping with me? And I was like, yeah. And so I'm shopping for a cute little top to go to her cute little event. And so I'm looking around the store looking for a cute little top to go to her cute little event. And I was like, ooh, this is cute. She's going to look really nice in this. I said, hey, what do you think about this one? And she goes, no, it's gay. And I was like, what? To me, of all people, too. And I was like, what? And then she goes, oh, I didn't mean it like that. And then he thinks like, this is a teachable moment. Teachable moment. And so I'm like, well, how did you mean it? Did you mean it was great? Did you mean it was awesome? Did you mean it was cool? No, you meant it was stupid. Yeah. And people go, oh, that's so gay. That's gay. And so it's a teachable moment. So it's like, pay attention to your words. Because people are listening. We don't want to demonize or ridicule another minority group of people. Don't want to do that. People are listening. And also, encourage a welcoming environment. I seen that flag, risked my life taking that picture. It was amazing. And pronoun usage, because sometimes people say, I am confused. That's okay. A lot of us get confused. And this is one of the things people go like, why weren't we confused in different cultures back in the day? Because did you know that the English language is very limited on certain things? The Ojibwe language is very descriptive. It's descriptive on our names. It's descriptive on when we talk about a person. But the English language is not. And so it has been coming up lately because we can just respect people's pronouns. And also remember that there's cultural aspects that go along with those things. We can support the 2S LGBT plus communities in your work. How? Small actions are a big impact, so you can educate your team. This is what we're doing right now. In visibility and support, highlight and celebrate 2S LGBT plus contributions, especially from Indigenous communities where applicable. We're doing that right now. The beautiful land acknowledgement too, by the way. Safe spaces. Ensure employees and clients know how to contact if they experience bias or need support and collaboration. Work with your local 2S LGBT plus or Two-Spirit organizations. Being proactive in inclusion strengthens our workplace, your relationships, and your community impact. Easy actions. Educate your team. Like I said, we're doing this right now. Highlight visibility, and you guys are doing that right now. I think it's absolutely fantastic. Safe spaces. Partner with experts. I'm your expert. And small steps can create meaningful change. Start with one action this week. And you guys have done a big action. I'm very, very thankful for that. I told you this wasn't against Christianity, and I meant it, because faith is a huge core of people's life. Around the world, people look to their faith as a source of guidance, a source of hope, and a source of inspiration. And 2S LGBT plus people, as well as their family and friends and allies, we're no different. We're no different. We need our faiths, whatever it may be. Our elders. Culturally, Native American culture, our elders, they're the bomb. We highly respect our elders. We want to make sure they're very well taken care of. They eat first. They go first. Everything is first with our elders. They've supported everything. They've created all of us. So it's like we need to really respect our elders. And so when we talk with our elders, our teachers and such, we want to respect them, right? Our elders don't like the word queer. Why? Yes, they grew up with it with a negative connotation. It was terrible. It was also a word used in attack. So our elders do not like the word queer. The youth are reclaiming it as a sense of empowerment, and that's absolutely fine. But when it comes to our elders, let's just pay them some respect. Let's pay them some respect because they've been through a lot, right? Seen many different things over the years. And as 2S LGBT plus people, sometimes we have to learn as elders and 2S LGBT plus, we have to navigate a world that wasn't built for us. Sometimes we really struggle. Before I got married, insurance, that was fun. Who owns the car? Who owns the house? Who owns the lawnmower? It's silly, but it's difficult. We had to have two separate lives living under one household. It's difficult. So what can we do? We can respect identity no matter when it's shared. And for our elders too, elders may come out later in life due to terms unfamiliar to you or reflect their language with care. Use their terms when it comes to our elders. Don't question or correct them and gently ask if you need clarity. Because our elders have been through a different time frames. Our elders are our rock stars. Many 2S LGBT plus elders have already been closeted to survive. Faced family rejection, lived through the AIDS crisis, survived conversion therapy, rejection and homelessness, survived racism, colonial trauma, erasure. So you're not just caring for a person, you're holding generations of resilience. Our elders deserve high respect. High respect. We wouldn't be here without them. And sometimes people's like, where are the 2S LGBT plus people? I never see anything. Exactly, and then you're blind or turning a blind eye. It's like, well, here we are. Here's a couple different scenarios. We're in the NFL, NHL, NBA, WNBA, the Olympics, news media, The Amazing Race, contest powwows. Heather Purser, top right. Who is she? She's not famous. Well, Heather Purser was from a tribe in Washington State, and she was the first same-sex marriage to be sanctioned by her tribe years ago. Because why? Did you know that all tribal laws have always supported LGBT plus marriages? Two-spirit marriages, always. It's cultural. It's always been respected. So I thought, oh my gosh, that's amazing. I'm going to do that. Me and Matthew have been together forever. And so I went to my tribe and paid $25. It's so cheap to get married on the reservation if you're enrolled. But I put my $25 down. I was like, we're going to get married. And it took 2.5 years because the tribal courts said, of course, immediately, it's our tribal law. It's our grandfather teachings. All of it. It's completely loved and respected. But then we had to have a tribal council sign off, which is governed by our tribal council, which is mimicked after our United States government. So it took a long time for them to sign that piece of paper. But when they did, finally, because I checked every month, where's my application? Where's my application? So for 2.5 years, and I did tell them, it's like, you're going to have to do this. You know what's going to happen. And then they said, can you be here Friday? I'm like, yep. So me and Matthew were there on Friday, back in a long time ago. But we're the first same-sex marriage to be sanctioned by the Leech Lake Band of Ojibwe Nation. So that includes Minnesota, Wisconsin, Michigan, and Canada, part of Canada. But that was a big thing because we reopened that door culturally. The tribal courts were on our side immediately as something respectable. And so once we opened that door again, many, 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 many couples followed. 2 of the most important numbers I'm going to give to you today, this is the Trevor Project, because we've lost a lot of our suicide prevention hotlines, and it's just, that's what's happened. But we've lost some of our hotlines, but the Trevor Project is still running. So this is a very important hotline for suicide prevention, like crisis matters. And then also the trafficking hotline. There's this great big 800 number there. You don't need to dial that. Just dial 911. Because sometimes people aren't sure, what should I do? Is there something happening over here? I'm not sure. Should I get involved? I don't know what to do. So call 911. Tell them what you see. One time I was giving a presentation. There was trafficking happening while I was speaking at a casino. Isn't that crazy? While I was speaking, I was dumbfounded. I'm like, it's literally happening all the time. And so we need to pay attention to that. So if you see something weird, you don't have to get involved. Just call 911. Tell them what you see. Because how do you represent equality? Why is it so important? Let me share something with you. Because here's this thing, it says Family Violence Prevention Program. I don't work there. Why is that up here? Well, when I walked in, because I was going to be giving a presentation, they had rainbow brochures. And what did we learn about rainbow? Safety. Yes, you're seeing families like mine. And that was a huge thing. I was like, oh, rainbow brochures. It's like, you see us, you see me, you see my family and other families like mine. And then you open it up. It said gender served, female, male, transgender, and gender non-binary. Amazing and also culturally correct. I was like, this is amazing. So it's important to see that stuff for us. And so this is that moment for you to take that moment for yourself. Think about, what type of home are you? What type of community are you? Just think about that for a moment. Are you a good home? Are you a safe home? Are you an inclusive home? Can everybody feel safe around you? And are we welcome? This here is a video, and I hated it. I'm going to tell you why. Okay, some of you are older. You're going to remember this. Do you remember when Meryl Streep and Neil Patrick Harris and all the stars of Hollywood were telling the youth, don't kill yourself? So like, hang in there. Don't worry. It's going to get better. Hang in there. It's going to get better. Remember that? Yeah, so what does that mean? It's like, don't kill yourself. Hang in there. When you turn 18, you can go away. You can go on your own journey. So hang in there. It's going to get better. And I was like, oh, I love you, Meryl Streep, but I don't think you knew what it was like for me growing up on the reservation, ricing or whatever. It's like, I appreciate you, but, it's just not, that's not working for me. Then, years later, they came up with this video. All Native Americans from all over. There are gay, lesbian, bisexual, transgender, queer, questioning Native Americans from everywhere. And I was like, oh, this is going to be great. They look like me. They sound like me. And I want to see what they have to say. And then they said, hang in there. It's going to get better. And I was like, oh, I hate this message so bad. Hang in there, because you're being abused mentally, physically, emotionally, or sexually at home, work, community, wherever, school. Hang in there. For how long? 1 year? Hang in there. 2 years? Hang in there. 3? 4? It's like, this is stupid. We can do something right now. We can all do something right now. So what is our outlook today? He's probably like, oh, this guy has a lot of bummer information. I didn't know he was going to say all that. Is our outlook today pretty good? Okay. Positive? I like some of the responses because like people are confused. Like, I'm not sure. Where are we going? We were making great progress. We've kind of regressed a little bit. But are we still doing okay? We can be. Oh, I like that. I don't feel okay about myself. I think we all. That's true. It's just like, we all have our concerns in all different aspects. We all have our concerns. Because what are we? We are all one community. So we do have concerns. We're doing not too bad. Not too bad. Sometimes to get me over in places, we have to change the terminologies to get me there of who I am and what my presentation is. But I'm still there. And other people like me. And so I think that's important for us to recognize, yes, good things are still happening. We need to pay attention to that. So there's Pride events, Bemidji's, Minneapolis, 23s, 24s, 25s was very interesting, and I don't have a picture of that because we were standing with MMIW. MMIW was with us. I didn't put it on this one. Yeah. I don't have it here. That's amazing. It looks similar to this, but we're also with MMIW. First time ever that Minneapolis, for Minneapolis Pride Parade. And there's hundreds of thousands of people. There's a lot of people there. And so MMIW is super thankful to be with us. Because why? We're two entities that are silenced through violence. How do we get the word out? Well, here's an idea. But we are remembering. We are moving forward. Because the Two-Spirit population is like, yes, we do remember. It wasn't erased during colonization. We didn't forget. So we are remembering a lot of different aspects over the years. There's me top left. Look how dark my beard is. I've been doing this for a long time. But yeah, we're remembering. So things are happening. There's Sharice Davids. This is where you know things were happening, because here's Sharice Davids. I don't know if you know who she is, but she's a United States representative. She's from Kansas. But here's Sharice Davids. She's a woman. She's a Native American, and she's lesbian. So that was something. That is something we need to pay attention to, because that's the position she is holding right now as one of the United States representatives. And did you also know that she's a black belt in martial arts? Did you know that I'm a black belt in martial arts? Comes in handy. But we had a wonderful conversation. There's my hubby, top left. I've been giving this presentation for 20 plus years. This year I put him in here because I forgot to put him in here. Isn't that crazy? I felt so bad. Because he was the first same-sex marriage to be sanctioned by the Legislative Band of Ojibwe too. I didn't marry myself. But there's my hubby. We are coming full circle, though. We are remembering our history. We're remembering our language, history, customs, value systems, and we're sharing it. It's important because we're talking about community, right? Here's some posters of me. You can go on my website and download those. I wrote everything on those posters, and I think it's fantastic. This is for the Minnesota Indian Women's Sexual Assault Coalition. A lot of different posters, a lot of different things, but my favorite one is the middle, because I'm talking about equality. Because your voice is important. Use it. Your voice is important. Use it. Everybody's voice is important. But we are coming full circle. And if you see like a powwows, or I love this little sign here, the powwow grounds. That's cute. But our regalia also tells the story of who we are, where we're from. And I shared some of that last night because I have this, it's called a roach on top of my head. It's my father's. And the bells on my ankles are my father's ring. Some of the stuff in my regalia I've made, or it's been gifted. But also our regalia tells where we are, who we are, where we're from. And so I like this one here because it shows Two-Spirit, the two women. Very powerful symbol. Also, there's me again. That was in an art gallery. People want to know, how was that? That was freezing. They wanted me to look elegant, or whatever they want, whatever that is, but there it is. But we are coming full circle. We're remembering our language, our history, our culture, our values, and we're sharing them. We want to make sure that we share that voice because it's very inclusive. Did you know that we had Two-Spirit powwows? we have two-spirit powwows, and they're huge. And it's something important for us to pay attention to. We talk about two-spirit, because what did we learn? That is something sacred, powerful, in some cases revered. It's honored. And also, when you see somebody like this at a powwow or in the community, that's somebody very sacred. Somebody sacred, but that's also somebody's family member. That's somebody's sister or somebody's child. Maybe this person's a parent. This person does have a family. They have hopes, dreams, and fears. So we need to remember that. And culturally, they're powerful. So we are coming full circle. I'm very encouraged. We're very blessed to be having this discussion. And it's important for us to share this stuff with the youth, right? It's important to share the stuff with the youth because our elders are so full of that rich information. We need to share that with our youth. It's important for us to. Because there's me with one of my little nephews. And so who am I? I'm uncle, and I'm a two-spirit. I don't know if he's going to be a two-spirit, but I want to make sure the world's safe. I want to make sure it's okay for him. And some of my little great nieces and nephews, a couple of them have come out. So I want to make sure that they're okay. Because I'm uncle. Not just that fag that owns the store. But I'm uncle. I'm a two-spirit. I'm a husband, and I'm a son. I'm a brother. Yeah. I was going to get to that. Miigwech means thank you. Miigwech, yep. And then chi miigwech means many thank yous. And that's where I usually go. It's like chi miigwech, which means many thank yous for me being here. Here's my website right there. And if you have any questions or anything like that, please let me know. Does anybody have a question or a comment? Thanks for coming. Woo! And I have gifts for you. Please come on up here because I have stickers. These are the best stickers too. They can go on your coffee mugs. I see one right there. And then I also have buttons, two-spirit ally buttons. So these are really important for us to see. Remember we're talking about visibility and everything? This is how I know that I'm safe. Other community members will know we're safe. So I have buttons, I've got stickers, and I got these little rainbowy stickers too, like the ones hanging outside the church right now, just like that. And then also I have two-spirit advocacy buttons or stickers for you. And we're commenting how I hated it that it comes on this little roll here. But you can rip it off and take one with you. And I also have business cards. But this is one of the other things I have for you too. Gender diverse pronouns. Because a lot of people think, what do I do? Well, here, we're all trying, right? Yeah, we're doing our best. So chi miigwech, and thank you.
Thank you all so much. We're so grateful, Arnold, for you to be here. Besides all of Arnold's goodies for you to take, please enjoy the cookies and the muffins. Powwow Common Grounds, Powwow Grounds is located, it's a coffee shop over in Minneapolis. They're fabulous. They've got a cafe, etc. But they baked those, and the Pride Justice team wants you to enjoy them today. We talked a lot about being an ally and an advocate and how having something like stickers or buttons lets people know that you are a safe home, a safe person, a safe whatever. We want you to have that access all the time, so the Pride Justice team always has bracelets like this, stickers, things like this. Particular sticker means that you're an ally. The black and white is referring to the binary, but the A that is the rainbow stands for ally. There's a bunch of, all that kind of stuff is over there. It's yours to take. We want to help you be an ally so that when any of your family, friends, when Arnold, whoever walks in, they know, okay, this is a home. This is a person that I can trust. And so please, we want to empower you to be an ally and an advocate wherever you are. So thank you again so much for being here. What a gift to us.